Hi, this is Cassandra from Homeschool Piece. In front of me today is all the material that I've used with my kindergartner, first grade, and third grade student this year. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you through what material we used this year, as well as give you our end of the year review. So starting first with language arts. My youngest student, who's in kindergarten, we used Logic of English Foundations Level B this year. She did Foundations Level A last year, so this was just her progressing to the next level. We took Foundations B and we spread it out over the course of the full school year. I'm really glad that we did that because it gave us extra time for a review and practice as we were going through the lessons, and also gave me the opportunity to put the brakes on when we needed to really just spend more time on a certain lesson. For the readers that go along with this, there's two sets. There is the original set of the Foundations B readers that are assigned within the lesson material. And then they have a second set, which is the Young Artist Series books. This is the other reason why I'm glad that we only did B this year, because it gave us time whenever these Young Artist Series books came up to really spend the time working on these books. The books are a little more challenging. It took my student a little longer to read through them. So we were able to just even for the day take the whole lesson was just working on one of these books, and then even coming in the next day and just rereading the book, just continuing to practice and really work on that reading fluency. It has really helped her this year. So she has now finished Foundations B. She just recently finished it. So now to sort of finish off her school year for kindergarten, we keep going back and practicing many of these readers throughout our lessons and just keep working on the skills that she learned in B, as well as we have also pulled up some of the Bob books and let her practice doing some of our reading through there as well. She'll be moving next year into Foundations Level C. For my first grade student, we've been using Foundations Level D from Logic of English. This is her sort of next progression because she had already done A through C previously. So this was just her moving up to the next level. D is one of my favorite levels to teach. I love the connection that they make between these nonfiction readers that are part of the lessons from Logic of English, as well as these great literature books that are part of their literature pack. And I love how they tie the two together in the lesson material. And my student did as well. Within the Level D lessons, there's a lot of additional projects, writing activities, writing projects, and my first grader loves to write. So this is actually one of her favorite classes that we have throughout the year, and she really did enjoy Level D. Next year, she will be moving up to where my son is and moving into the Logic of English Essentials program. So my son, who's in third grade this year, he started using Essentials last year. There are 4 books a part of the Essentials program. And so right now I only have the third and the fourth book. So the first and the second book, which would be units 1 through 15, he did last year. So this year is what we've been working on is unit 16, and then it ends with unit 30. Within these books, there is 3 different levels, level A, B, and C. And when he tested last year, it tested him into level B because of just going through the foundations material. He had already a lot of the knowledge of the phonograms, and so he was able to move right into level B within the Essentials program. So we are finishing off these lessons before the end of the year, along with doing these lessons 16 through 30. He's also been using what is the Essential Reader. Now, the Essential Reader is an additional thing that you can add on. It's not required to do the lessons, but what's really nice, especially for those younger grades, it feels a lot like some of the readers that the kids are used to from doing foundations. So it's a story that they would read as part of the lesson, and then there is activity sheets that go along with the reader, and a lot of it's comprehension questions, or maybe it's outlining the story, small writing projects, things that they get to dig deeper in based on the stories that they're reading within this reader. So he did half of this book the previous year, so in second grade, and this year he's finishing off this book, so he'll finish this reader as well by the end of the year. Last thing that my son's been working on from Logic of English is the rhythm of handwriting. He's already has gone through this book one time. This was the second time going through it. Just we're continuing to practice that cursive writing. Next year, my son will be continuing with Essentials. He'll be going actually back to Unit 1, but moving to that level C, so he'll be able to go through all these books and all this material again, just at the higher level. So that's what we used for language arts this year. All right, so now we're into math. And for my kindergarten student, we've been using from Math You See the alpha level. Now for kindergarten, a lot of times they recommend primer, but she already did primer during her pre-K level. So this was just her next level for her to move into. So that's why she's been using this for kindergarten. For alpha, they really want the student to master those single digit addition and single digit subtraction problems before moving into beta. So we've been going through the addition facts. She's done really great through addition. Into subtraction, she's been doing well, but you could just tell she's sort of slowing down a little bit. She's having trouble remembering some of the facts. So that's why I've put the brakes on a little bit. So I have a hunch that we're not actually going to finish alpha by the end of this school year. We'll probably have a few chapters left over, which will end up starting next. So in the fall, we'll end up starting whatever we have left over in this book before moving into beta, which is obviously one of the benefits to homeschooling. So I'm just going to make sure we really get those facts down before we move to the multi-digit addition and subtraction. So that moves into what my first grader that is working on, which is beta. So multi-digit addition and subtraction. And my first grader loves this level. She's told me many times how much she loves beta. It's been a lot of fun really applying those skills that she learned into alpha into these problems with beta. And she loves more of the challenge that she has with these problems, as well as she loves some of the activities with like measuring, as well as there was some things related to money and sort of pretending to have a little store. She liked when she got to do that as well. So first grader has done really well with beta, and she will definitely finish this by the end of the year, and she'll be moving next to gamma next year, which will be multiplication through Math You See. For my third grader, he's been working on delta. Now delta is division, so it starts with single digit division facts, and then they move to your multi-digit division, which would be like your long division. He's actually done really well. It's been a lot of material, definitely a lot with the lesson pages and such, but he's been doing really great with it. He's close to being done, so I feel pretty confident that we should finish this by the end of the year, and then he'll be moving next year into epsilon. Again, that's through Math You See, and epsilon will be his fractions. So that's what we've been using for our math this year. Now I'm going into social studies and our history. For my kindergarten student, we've been using from MasterBooks the My Story K. This has been a great fit for our family. I'm able to sit with her, do a short reading, give her a worksheet to work on. Some of it's just coloring. There's a few cutting activities that she has to do, but she can do some of that work independent, which is really nice because then I can shift my focus on working with one of my other kids. The things that we've gone through, the topics, exploring different countries and cultures, as well as things at home, I've really enjoyed going through this book with her. She's almost done with it, and next year she is going to be moving to MasterBooks My Story 1. For my first grade student, she used this book this year. So this is the MasterBooks My Story 1, again for social studies. And this went through so many different countries. We had great vocabulary and awesome pages that my first grader went through. She absolutely loved this book. She would ask to do it. It was one of her like go-to subjects that she loved working on. I would, again, short read with her, and then I would be able to assign her a page or two even to work on while I then shifted my focus to my oldest. And so it gave us the ability to really have some independent table work in our home during our history and social studies time. My first grader is almost done with this particular workbook, and she will be moving to MasterBooks My Story 2 for social studies in the fall. So now going into where my third grader has been, again from MasterBooks, this is America's Story 1. So this starts from like your early Americas and goes through like the Revolutionary War. My son absolutely loved this book. He was really into the Revolutionary War right now and anything related to it. And so he really loved this textbook and going through it. There's a lot of worksheets related to it. So there's a teacher's book that has a lot of worksheets. I have to say my son did get a little tired sometimes of the worksheets, or maybe felt like the worksheets were too much or too much writing. And so we did have to cut or modify a few of the projects to work well with him being in third grade, because this is a range of grades that you can do, and he is on the younger side. But that being said, we really did love going through this book, and he is almost done with it. We then will be moving next year into MasterBooks America's Story 2, and that's what we've been working on for our social studies and history. My next subject to talk about is literature. And literature, meaning the books my students are reading to themselves, or the books that I'm reading aloud and we're studying together. So for my first grader, she's been doing the Sonlight Grade 2 readers. This is separate from the Sonlight course. This is that reader packet that just has great literature that they're reading aloud or reading to themselves depending on where they're at with their reading ability. So my student has been working on that Grade 2 with having so many books that she's reading with Logic of English and other things. I did split this Grade 2 level over the course of 2 years. So she did half of it. So this stack here is half of what she did, and she finished this year, and then next year she'll finish the other half of the Sonlight Grade 2 readers. For my third grader, same pattern. He has been working on the Sonlight Grade 4 readers. Again, that's just where he was at for his next step in the reader schedule. And so when I looked at the books, again, just a lot of books to read. So I split the Grade 4 readers up over his third grade, and now will be his fourth grade year. So this first half, he's already finished. And then next year, he'll finish the other half of the Sonlight Grade 4 readers. For literature, books that I'm just reading aloud to my kids, I went ahead and picked just books that I really wanted to read to my kids. So we cuddle up on the couch, 1 to 2 chapters a day, just going through any questions and talking about the book, vocab, things like that, just studying these books together. We went through some really great books like, Winnie the Pooh, Pippi Longstocking, So Funny, One and Only Ivan, just things that we wanted to read aloud, or my kids even helped me pick out some of these as well. And it's been so great going through these books together. Other thing that's not included in the stack is actually audiobooks. So we were able to go through 3 different full audiobooks together through Beverly Cleary books, and we loved hearing those. So in the car, sitting there while we were eating lunch, just listening to these Beverly Cleary books were so perfect for us. So if you haven't really used audiobooks in your day, try to add the audiobooks. It's been great. So next year, we're going to pick a mix of some audiobooks as well as just great literature that we want to read together, and we'll create that stack of literature books that we'll want to cover next year. And so that's what we've been working on for our literature. My last main subject to go through is science. For science, we're still using the Good and the Beautiful, and this year we did 3 different Good and the Beautiful science units as well as their health unit. The first unit we went through was the human body. This is the second time we went through the human body, and it was nice because my kids were much younger when we did it the first year, and this time around we were able to really go a little bit deeper. The next unit we went through was reptiles, amphibians, and fish. I really enjoyed this unit. This is the newer style of the Good and the Beautiful science units, and I like the additional videos, and some of the experiments are a little bit different, or activities, as well as some of the additional books that were part of this unit. So I really enjoyed the new style, and what was nice is we ended on fish, and after we did fish, it transitioned really well into marine biology, which is the unit that we're currently working on. We're almost done with it. Now this marine biology unit is really big, and there's a lot to it, so we've definitely slowed down a little bit as we went into marine biology, because it is taking us a little bit longer to go through. But amazing information. I really do like marine biology, and my kids have been enjoying it this year. The last thing that we did was our safety unit. Now the safety unit, this is the second time we've done safety, and there's 8 lessons with safety. And so really it's just if you do 2 safety lessons every quarter, you can get done with safety by the end of the year. And I love having the additional safety lessons, and it's also just one of the requirements I have in the state I live in. So this was great adding it in throughout our science lessons. So for next year, we're just going to continue using the Good and the Beautiful, different units, different things, but we're excited to continue using the sort of one-room schoolhouse to our science. I hope this was helpful going through all of our curriculum from this year, and maybe it gave you some ideas for materials that you might want to use for this upcoming school year. I've already started to get some of our books in for the fall, and I can't wait to share it all with you. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button and hit that subscribe so you'll be notified when I do post new content, which would be including a video and sharing with you our upcoming curriculum materials. And if you have any questions with what I shared today, make sure you leave those questions below, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.